Alrighty, we're going to take a look at multiplying and dividing integers. Now, in my opinion, this is much easier than adding and subtracting integers, just in terms of fewer rules to try to memorize and all of that. So first, let's just look at a typical multiplication problem, right? 5 times 4. We know that 5 times 4 is equal to 20. Okay, now if we think about this, right, as in 5 times 4, meaning I have 5 groups of 4, right? So if we want to look at multiplying with integers, I could look at the example of a positive 5 or 5 groups of negative 4. Now if I have 5 groups of negative 4, right, that's negative 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 4, we know that that will equal negative 20. So we can see that positive 5 times positive 4 is positive 20. Positive 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Okay, now one other way we could see this would be negative 5 times negative 4. And that's actually positive 20. So you'll notice when we have no negative signs, our answer is positive. When we have one negative sign, our answer is negative. And when we have 2 negative signs, our answer is positive. Now let's think just for a second, what if we had 3 numbers and they were all negative? So let's do a relatively easy one here. Let's do negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Now if you had to guess, do you think this is going to be positive or negative? Let's look at our previous ones. So when we had no negative signs in our multiplication problem, our answer was positive. When we had 1 negative sign, our answer was negative. And when we had 2 negative signs, our answer was positive. So if you had to guess, what do you think would happen when we have 3 negative signs? Well, one way we could solve this is to start by multiplying negative 2 times negative 2. Now we know that when we have 2 negative signs, negative 2 times negative 2 will equal a positive 4. And then we're going to multiply that by a negative 2. So now we have 1 negative sign. And we know that a positive times a negative will equal a negative. So when we have 3 negative signs, our answer is negative. So the easiest way to think about this when you are multiplying integers is to see how many negative signs you have. And if you have an odd number of negative signs, right? So for example, here we have 1 negative. 1 is an odd number. Our answer is negative. In the last one, we had 3 negatives, and 3 is an odd number, so our answer is negative. So when you multiply integers, if you have an even number of negative signs, so 0 negative signs, 2, 4, 6, okay? If the number of negative signs that you see in your problem is even, then your answer will be positive. If the number of negative signs that you see in your problem is odd, then your answer will be negative. Okay, now the same actually applies when we divide as well. So if we were to look at this problem here, right, we'll start with an easy one. 5 divided by 5. We know that 5 divided by 5 equals 1. Now, if we were to do 5 divided by negative 5, again, we can count. I see 1 negative sign here, and 1 is an odd number. So that means my answer will be negative. However, if I had 2 negative signs, negative 5 divided by negative 5, that's 2 negative signs. So the answer will be positive. And you could always go back and check your work, right? So if I were to look at this one that I just finished, if negative 5 divided by negative 5 equals 1, then 1 times negative 5 should equal negative 5. And it does. So let's look at a couple more. Let's do 10 divided by negative 2. So once again, I'm going to count the number of negative signs that I see. Here I see one negative sign, and that's an odd number of negative signs. So that means my answer will be negative, and 10 divided by 2 is 5, so 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. So that's just a quick look at how to divide and multiply integers.